What's going on, you guys? Jay here and welcome back to the channel. So we're going to be constructing a timeline in this video. We're going to go through the final judgment. We're going to read it. We're going to correlate that to different tweets that were put out by TFL. And what I'm going to do is really try to break this down for everybody in a timeline you can better understand, and then you're able to show this to maybe other people in the ecosystem. And hey, maybe some validators are listening and they'll be pushed into supporting the freezing of these assets. Or what I would prefer to happen would be to go in and actually burn those funds completely, just get rid of them in their entirety. And we know this from the final judgment. But again, we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be going through absolutely everything. As always, guys, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. It's really going to help us out here on the channel. When you look at the final judgment, it can be very confusing. It can be a little bit misconstrued, and different sections need to be referenced when going through and reading. So there is a lot when it comes down to a final judgment, but a final judgment is a final judgment. This is where we're going to get all of the ins and outs and how this case is going to and has been tied up. So what we can see here at the beginning is, pursuant to section 21D5 of the Exchange Act, defendants are permanently restrained and enjoined from participating directly or indirectly in the purchase, offer, or sale of any crypto asset securities, including but not limited to UST, Mira, Luna, Wrap Luna, and Luna 2.0, engaging in activities for purposes of inducing or attempting to induce the purchase, offer, or sale of any crypto asset securities by others. So when we actually go and we look at the tweet that correlates to this with TFL, it's quite clear they've abided by this final judgment. As TFL begins winding down its operations, Proposal 4818 will be the final chain upgrade that we implement pursuant to TFL's settlement with the SEC and implementation of its proposed Chapter 11 plan. TFL will no longer have the ability to support future chain upgrades. Again, this correlates with the part here in the final judgment. So now what we can see is, notwithstanding the foregoing as part of Terraform's orderly wind down and liquidation in the case, the bankruptcy case, defendants shall be permitted to allow third parties to withdraw, unwind, or unstake their position from Terraform's applications and protocols. And the defendings or liquidating trustee or other estate representative in the bankruptcy case shall be permitted to dispose of crypto assets within the bankruptcy's estate, possession, or control. So let's focus just on that first bit there, which is permitting TFL to allow third parties to withdraw, unwind, or unstake their positions from applications or protocols. So now what we need to do is move to this tweet here, and we can correlate this with the information provided. We would like to inform you about the recent bankruptcy court order in TFL's Chapter 11 case, authorizing TFL to do the following: reopen the shuttle bridge for redemption of wrapped assets on Terra Classic, and then going back, correlating that again with that part of the final judgment, we can see that that has been done and dusted. So what we're going to do now is focus on this section that is permitting the disposal of crypto assets within the bankruptcy's estate, possession, or control, including crypto assets transferred to the bankruptcy estate's possession, custody, or control by defendant Quan, pursuant to the terms hereto other than UST, Mira, Luna, Wrap Luna, Anchor, KRTC, and Luna 2.0, being those Terraform crypto assets, in a manner not objectionable to the parties and the court in the bankruptcy action. What they're referencing here is the section which more or less states, as long as Duquan and TFL abide by this final judgment, there will be no objections when it comes down to the liquidation of the UST, the Mirror, the Terraform crypto assets, and they will in fact be left alone. So defendants shall otherwise destroy or burn private keys in Terraform's possession to wallets or blockchain addresses holding Terraform crypto assets, including those tokens after they are received from the Luna Foundation Guard, pursuant to the transfers contemplated by the terms hereto, and to burn any vested Luna 2.0 tokens. So what we can do is focused specifically now on this section, which is the defendants shall otherwise burn or destroy the private keys in Terraform's possession to wallets. We've seen the full commitment of this final judgment play out, because what we can do is actually go in and again, we can correlate this to TFL's wind down tweets. Following our previous announcement, the Shuttle Bridge interface has now been permanently closed, and as part of this process, all remaining tokens in the Shuttle Bridge wallets have been burned to complete shutdown. So what we can see again is the correlation between that tweet and the final judgment. We can see they've gone in and otherwise burned or destroyed the private keys or the assets, as Chris Armani also confirmed previously. So we've got all of these different confirmations, even when it comes down to the section, including those tokens after they are received from the Luna Foundation Guard pursuant to the transfers contemplated terms of hereto to burn any vested Luna 2.0 tokens. So now what we're going to do is go in and we're going to look at the tweet that correlates to this part of the wind down. We would like to inform you about a recent bankruptcy court order. We have undelegated and burned the 150 million Luna received from the Terra community grant. So again, we can correlate the final judgment to all of this different information that's been made available. Again, seeing the proposal going through and passing to burn unbacked Luna assets as determined, dictated, judged, and decreed by the final judgment. Even when we go and we look, okay, at the section, which is more or less stating the only way they're going to leave the Terraform crypto assets alone is if Do Kwon and TFL abided by the final judgment. And there's a section in there about Do Kwon transferring different parts of his BTC portfolio, the AVAX funds, which we'll get onto shortly. But what we can see here is the abiding of that final judgment. And Do Kwon did in fact send his BTC, and it did in fact move to a completely new address, which we can see here, and I'll leave links to this in the description. So we've got so much confirmation in this final judgment. It starts to get a little bit strange that a validator would give this document to a legal advisor, a lawyer, which would cost thousands and thousands of pounds, which they simply don't earn as a validator. And I find it very hard to believe someone would spend tens of thousands of dollars just to get a very basic answer to a basic final judgment. So with that being said, what we need to actually look at here, alongside all of the confirmation, the correlation, is actually going and saying to ourselves, what happened to the AVAX in LFG? There was a significant amount held, and this was actually part of a package in April 2022, where the Avalanche Foundation sold 1.97 million AVAX tokens to the LFG Guard for around $100 million. Following the collapse, those tokens just became part of the same bankruptcy estate, okay? So here in the LFG reserve, that is where they remain. But the question was, where did they go? We know that they were liquidated from the LFG, but where did they go? Well, this is actually very, very simple to answer. And we can bring up a document here which goes over the ins and outs of the debitors with HappyCattyCrypto and the ongoing discussions with the council to Avalanche to actually claim these tokens in some way, shape or form. And what they've actually gone through and they've put a lot of effort and energy into, because they have a central body, is securing those assets and ensuring that they're not part of the liquidation heat map. They're not going to cause any issues for the overall blockchain being Avalanche. It was a significant amount. It was valuing in at around $2 million that they had to pay to buy those funds back. When we look at the consent and the final judgment, the Avalanche community, they were quite prompt with their negotiations of how the AVAX funds should be dictated and determined, and the fact that it would cause irreparable harm to the Avalanche ecosystem if those funds were in fact liquidated. Okay, so did Avalanche actually get them back? Yes, for $2 million. As we can see here, the Avalanche Foundation to repurchase tokens sold to Terra's LFG in the 2022 deal, pending court approval. And what I can do is actually go in and I can confirm to you guys, Avalanche Foundation to buy back nearly 2 million AVAX happened. It's done. It's dusted. And, we are now the laggers. We are the community that simply hasn't acted. And so many people think this is about burning the 1.86 billion USTC, which it is, but it's not about the burning motive. It's about securing the blockchain. It's about ensuring that we are not subject to irreparable harm by Daniel Shin, someone who probably has and had and still has access, like I'm saying, to the LFG reserves because they haven't moved. The LUNC hasn't moved and the USTC hasn't moved. And the likelihood is the keys have been destroyed at this point by the SEC on handover as per that final judgment. So now we can go through and we can see all of the correlation. We can see what the end result was with the LFG reserves, with the AVAX, with the BNB, which was a very small amount. We can see that the BTC is the only thing that we cannot touch as an ecosystem, and we have no right to touch it. It's not going to cause irreparable harm to our ecosystem. We can't assert a claim over it, but we can with the UST and the Luna, as shown here in the LFG reserves being Luna Classic and USTC. Now, when I go to that final judgment, it's very clear, guys. UST, Mira, Luna, Wrap Luna, Anchor, KRTC, and Luna 2.0 being those Terraform crypto assets. We can see that everything at this point is done and dusted. If they were going to do anything with these funds, it would have happened a long time ago. And again, the SEC would cause irreparable harm to our ecosystem if they did in fact attempt to liquidate these funds. We don't even have market books big enough to fill these orders. So you're probably thinking, Jay, what spurred you into making this video? And honestly, I've seen and I've spoke to a few different people, and all nodes are now kind of like distorting what they said. And they're saying, well, you don't have a conflict of interest in your previous proposal. Essentially saying to me, I could have voted yes, but when you go and you look at what they stated, it's quite clear. A validator must not vote on his own proposal, as this is a conflict of interest. It's quite clear, it's quite definitive on what they are putting forward, and we're all walking on eggshells at this point. But my current understanding is, okay, if I can vote yes, and I could have voted yes, the proposal to burn these assets would in fact have passed. So do I think freezing them is a good idea? Yeah, we should support the proposal, we should freeze the assets, and then I think we should just keep proposing the burning of the USTC and play the cloak and daggery as all of these other validators have been doing. Because again, with my voting power last time, the proposal would have passed. My vote would have gone in at the last minute. It would have been a situation which was quite beneficial for the ecosystem, and we probably could have seen a couple more 100% in gains out of USTC, and then hopefully seeing LUNC dragged up with it. It doesn't stop with the LFG funds. There are 8 wallets that we need to go in and we need to secure. It's around 3.8% of the overall USTC supply. And we also need answers from Binance at this point. If we do in fact burn the LFG assets, burn these 8 wallets, we're now in a situation where Binance is the biggest holder alongside us as an entire ecosystem, being the largest holder of USTC in the Oracle rewards pool. So again, we need answers, we need movement, and we need to act on this final judgment in the same way TFL act on it and the same way that AVAX had to act on it. A lot of different A's there in that sentence, but we managed to get through it. Guys, just trying to keep you as up to date as possible, going over what's relevant, but I really want to know what you guys think. Aside that, as always, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. I'll catch you in the next one.